This is Suzuki's first ever electric car. And let me tell you a little secret. It's not really a Suzuki at all. And that's for two main reasons. One, it's built in India, and two, it's also secretly a Toyota. And we're going to test it to the absolute extreme to see if it actually goes off-road. Now, this being electric, can it be the ultimate farm replacement vehicle for your old Vitara and everyday car that you can drive around town? That's the ultimate question we're going to answer today. Now, my family have loved Suzukis over the years. I've owned lots. In fact, it was my first ever car, and I got it before I even turned 17. And it was a Suzuki Alto. In fact, I liked it so much and it was so good to me that I actually had another one. It was my second car as well. Okay, so the new Suzuki eVitara then. There's two battery sizes available. I've got the 61 kilowatt hour version here, and there's also a 49 kilowatt hour version. Now, incredibly, that starts from just £26,000 here in the UK. With this all grip model that I'm driving, you actually get four-wheel drive and you get a much quicker 0 to 60 time, and you really notice the acceleration in this too. Can it be the ultimate workhorse for just a fraction of the price of the Range Rovers and the other Land Rovers and stuff that are out there on the market today? So let's find that out today by first taking it on the motorway. Okay, let's go on the motorway. Let me overtake and check the acceleration now. Whoa, we're going fast. Really good speed. A little bit of wind noise from the windows and things. If I just talk my normal speaking voice, then it's actually okay. I don't have to shout or anything like that. I've also got the climate control on, so maybe there's a bit of fan noise from that. I wonder if I close this. It feels more of a snug feel, more of a cozy vibe when I do this, but I prefer it open. Now I'm going to check the adaptive cruise control here, because if you look at this car in the front, it's actually going a lot slower than me. Yep, it's slowing down. So yeah, it's slowing down as you'd expect it to. 63 it slowed down to. Adaptive cruise control works absolutely great. I got a blind spot monitoring system because just it informed me about a car that's overtaking, and it does actually really go quite fast, this car. Now, I don't know if it's been driven like this before, but on the average consumption it's 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, which is quite low as an average efficiency. But at the same time, if you're someone who's got a farm, wants a reliable vehicle, you might have something like solar panels installed or something like that, and you can therefore just charge during the day when the sunlight is providing you free energy. Let's overtake this. Really, honestly, it's one of the quickest little electric cars I've ever driven. I am very impressed. Very punchy. There's no kind of movement in the suspension when you accelerate forwards. It's got a very solid feel to it, this. A short stint on the motorway, but it feels absolutely fine. A little bit of wind noise coming from up here, but you'd expect that with any car, really. Feels perfectly smooth and comfortable on the motorway. Very, very impressed. Now, the seats do feel a little bit hard and sporty, but I think it's a good balance because the ride is sort of matching that, and the design of intention is to go off-road, kind of a bit rugged, bit of a workhorse and utility vehicle, but also a really affordable everyday town car as well. So it blends it well by just being comfortable enough to be around town. Steering's very direct and very responsive, but also very light. So we're almost finished on the high-speed driving run now. Let's go around and take you around town as I go to the gym today, and I'm going to do a few errands as well. So come with me. I'm going to take you with me. See what the practicality is like. So just driving around now, we're on 77% and it's on 147 miles of indicated range, which isn't too bad really. 360 cameras are really good on this. Okay, let's go to the gym and I'll do my workout and I'll see you after, because we've got an important shopping run to do. Okay, let's go and collect my shopping and see how it fits in the boot. First problem I've got is, oh no, I bought all the luggage that I've got at home. How's that going to fit? So let's see if we can do something here with the boot space. Now there we go, I've got all my luggage that I bought from home accidentally, just to check the boot space. Let's see if my shopping for the week can fit in this small gap. I think it's a pretty big boot overall. It's too big. How's it going? Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
Good. As you can see, I forgot to bring my bags, but it does pretty well in terms of boot space. Let me show you. So I've got all my weekly shop in there and a luggage. Now when I go traveling, I don't really have suitcases, but I bought this one for a Canada trip a couple of years ago. I had to use my other suitcase to store my shopping, but yeah, pretty decent boot size. Okay, so let's take it all home. Then we've got the real test. I just want to thank Platinum Motor Group for lending me the car for the week. They represent lots of different brands in the southwest area, so do check them out, link in the description. Now let's have a look at the boot space with nothing in the back, and it's quite big to be honest. It's got a subwoofer in the back for an upgraded option, and it's got a little neat underfloor storage here as well, where you can lift up. And it's also got a very flat load surface as well, so it's easy to get things in and out. Okay, let's tell you more about the inside then. And it's overall quite wide. I think driving it and comparing it to the Insta's more a bit narrow for someone who's 6'5". It's a bit more intimidating to be inside. But this car is good. It's got wireless phone charging here, wireless CarPlay and stuff like that. It's got 2 cup holders. Your very basic and simple to understand lever. You push it down and you twist it to go forwards and put it in reverse to twist it the other way. So I'll put it back into park. And then you've got here hill descent control. You've also got 1 pedal driving, which works quite well. And then you've got different drive modes. So you've got Eco, Sport, and then having nothing on the dashboard means that you're not in any drive mode, it's normal. Trail mode as well, which is what we'll test later on. So let's see if this can actually go off-road and see if the trail mode actually, allows you to navigate through really rough terrain. Normal cubby hole in the middle here, as you'd expect. And then under here we've got USB-C and USB charging, along with like a cubby hole, I guess, where you can store your phone or devices or anything you want to, really. One thing I did notice is that my normal bottle for my gym doesn't actually fit this hole. It's a bit for smaller cups really, but it did fit in here. So yeah, as you can see, I've got really decent headroom, me being 6'5". And the best feature about this car is the panoramic roof and the blinds. It doesn't open, it's fixed shut, but it provides a wonderful, the lighting in here now is incredible. I love this, especially on a beautiful day like today. So yeah, this is the best features about the car. You've got normal interior lighting and everything like that. And you've got a mirror. Okay, so the infotainment, as you can see your average miles per kilowatt. You can see your driving range and the battery percentage we've got left. All fairly easy to understand. Tyre pressure monitoring system, EV settings. It's got all your usual settings for ADAS and features. So lane departure, which actually works really well. And so does the lane keeping assist feature. Phone, as you can see, it all works fine through Apple CarPlay. A lot of the time, if you go to the home screen up here, and you can also see your media through here as well. Everything on the infotainment and interior works well, except this one small thing. Okay, so to get to the climate controls and the heated seats, you go through there, then you go to the heated seats, and then you choose the heated seats. So as you can see, it's on at the moment, which is not necessary because it's a lovely and warm day. But that's the only little qualm about the climate control features. Otherwise, you can just adjust the temperatures here. And as you can see, it goes up and down, no worries at all. And then you can adjust the fan speed here as well, turn on the AC. So that's all fairly easy to use, really. It's just the heated seats that can be a little bit of an issue getting used to. But again, you adjust it all on here, so it's a good diagram to show you the different directions of everything. Very, very cool. Turn it down again. Or you can just turn it off here. The display is really easy to see. Let's take you in the back to see the practicality in the back. Okay, now sitting in the back, I've moved my seat forward a bit, so I'm not in my driving position, but it's a little bit snug in here, especially for the headroom. I think I can just move this seat back a bit, actually. There we go. So if I recline the seat as much as possible, I'm just about fitting in here. I don't think it's obviously designed for me, it's designed for someone with kids or smaller people. So yeah, it's actually quite a nice, comfy position apart from the headroom. But it's designed like this because it's more of an off-road car, an utility car. And that means you're going to sacrifice some of the cabin space because of the height. I've had this in the Toyota 4Runner, which I drove when I was in the US. It's kind of a big utility vehicle, and as a sacrifice to make it work on the road and more aerodynamically efficient, then you have to lower the height of the overall kind of inside bit. And of course you've got the batteries underneath as well. Armrest that comes down with 2 cup holders, which makes it nice, a bit more of a comfortable 4-seater car rather than 5 seats, even though it does have 5 seats in the middle. ISOFIX, as you'd expect, and half leather interior in here. You've got the dark kind of cabin as well, which is nice. What I really like is the carbon fibre on the interior as well. This kind of feature, it is plastic, but it feels smooth and not kind of rough and ready. You've got obviously rear tinted windows, which are also electronic, and a little bit of actually this side has some kind of sleeve and pocket here, but this side, the driver's side, doesn't, which is interesting. This actually has a little bit of a bump in the ceiling here, so it's not actually that bad. Got 2 USB ports, one USB-C and one normal USB, with a little bit of a cubby hole underneath as well. Yeah, it seems really, you know, a decent quality, despite being a more affordable off-roader, if not one of the cheapest off-roaders you can buy that's electric. Let's bring the seats down now and show you how it folds flat. See, it all folds flat. The only issue with the center console armrest here in the back is that you have to pull this tab open to get it open, but that's all fine. See, I'm reaching over okay. There you go, folding flat. Now, you can't fold the front seats flat and do what I did in the Insta, which is to sleep in it. But again, it's not really designed for that. It's more of a utility all-round vehicle. How do we do that? There we go. Yeah, 5 seats in the back. Okay, now it's time for its biggest test. I'm at Cotswold Driving Experiences today, who have kindly let me use their track. They provide rally and off-road experiences for both adults and kids. So do check them out if you're ever in the Cotswold area. So we're going to test the dual motor all grip system now, because we're going to take this off-road. Oh, I'm scared. Wish me luck. And I'm sure it'll be fine, because this is a very capable off-road car. In fact, I'm going to put the AC on, put trail mode on. We've also got hill descent control, which I don't think we necessarily need because it's quite a level track. So let's test the all grip 4-wheel drive system and check if this 30-ish thousand pounds off-roader can go off-road to make it the ultimate bargain for today. First of all, there's a massive curb, so let's get onto it. Ooh, okay, we are good. Oh, it is quite high actually. Trail mode is on, so that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to take it really, really slow, because we might get stuck already. Okay, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this. It's struggling a little bit. It's a little bit slip and slide, but we're doing okay so far. Now, I've never driven off-road. Yes, we understand we've got some warnings on the dashboard, but it's going. It's actually going off-road. I am very impressed. It's been horrendous in terms of the weather this year for rain. So, we're doing it. We're going off-road. We're testing the 18 centimetres of ground clearance, but my goodness, would you look at that? Wow. It's a proper test though, this. This is not anything light-hearted. This is really, the ridges in the middle are massive. The massive, it's doing it. It's actually doing it. Wow. Amazing. I am so impressed. No drama. Okay, the middle bit now is very, very high. Oh, we're gonna do it, yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna go that way because that's just completely flooded. Wow, we're doing really well. Trail mode is on and doing a wonderful job. Would you look at that? No drama. It can go off-road. Wow. Okay, now where do I go? Because I'm a bit stuck. I might just turn around. Okay, I genuinely don't know where to go now. Do I turn around? Do I turn right? He said turn right, I think, so let's try it. Yeah, okay, that looks clear. Good. There's a bit of water this side, a bit of water. Oh my goodness, that is quite deep. Oh, it's just given me... Oh, my camera's gone. What's happened? It's given me the automated braking, emergency braking for some reason. But we're doing okay. Let's carry on. Yeah, I'm so surprised. This is awesome. It's so capable, wow. All the motors can adjust the amount of power to each of them, front and rear, on this all grip mode and the trail mode, which is really impressive. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah, it's doing really well. I am so impressed. Hopefully this is the end of the track now, but wow. Incredible. I'm just doing it really slow. Wow, look at that. We're almost at the end, I think, because there's a random caravan here. Okay, there's a tree sticking out, which is going to be... It's not a tree, it's just a branch. We're doing so well. That's what the power of electric cars can do. Just wonderful jobs. Incredible, isn't it? And there's a random caravan here. Wow. Oh my goodness. Okay, the water's a bit deep here. Ah! We're doing it, we're doing it. Look at that. We've done it. Incredible. I'm going to go out this way because it's the exit, I think. Or do I go that way? You know what? Let's just exit. I've done enough now. This is proving that it can go off-road. Look at that. 18, I believe it's got 18 centimeters of ground clearance, and there we go. So can it actually replace your maybe Defender or Discovery that you might have on a farm, or even your existing Vitara, because it's a totally different car underneath? I think it can. I think it's a really capable car, and as we saw, it can go off-road, so it's fantastic for that. So yeah, join me on the next video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace out.